Imagine this. Hidden deep inside the jungles of Central America, there once existed a civilization, with cities larger than London and Paris combined. A world where people, without wheels, without iron, built towering structures that touched the sky. A world where mathematicians discovered zero almost 1,000 years ago, years before Europe, and created calendars so accurate that they rival NASA's calculations today. And then, suddenly, everything went silent. Temples stood empty, markets died, and millions of people simply walked away from the magnificent cities they had built with their own hands. This is the story of the Maya civilization. This is today's Mexico, Guatemala, Belize, and Honduras. But 2,000 years ago, borders didn't exist here. This was the beating heart of the Maya Empire. Unlike Egypt's pyramids that shine in the open desert, the Maya hid their world inside a dense, unforgiving jungle. So thick that for centuries, travelers walked right over these cities, unaware that history was sleeping beneath their feet. In the 1800s, explorers pushed into these forests and saw strange, moss-covered hills rising out of the green canopy. But when they hacked away the vines, they froze. It wasn't a hill. It was a temple. Stairs, carvings, doorways, all swallowed by the earth. They declared, "We have found America's lost civilization." But the full truth wasn't revealed until 2018, when scientists flew LiDAR scanners over the Guatemalan rainforest. Now, what is LiDAR? Think of it as a laser that digitally strips away the trees to reveal the ground below, without moving a single inch of dirt. And what appeared on the screen shocked the scientific world. They found over 60,000 previously unknown structures, ancient highways, canals, reservoirs, and farmland, and giant cities, completely hidden by the jungle. So the question is, how did the Maya build such advanced, massive metropolises without metal tools, without the wheel, and without animals to haul the weight? Let's open the gates of these lost cities and witness the true genius of Maya engineering. We often imagine the Maya as a single giant empire, like Rome or modern-day America. But the truth is far more complex and far more interesting. First, let's ground ourselves in time. Their story begins around 2000 BC. But their true golden age, their peak, was from 250 AD to 900 AD. When Europe was drowning in the Dark Ages, the Maya world was exploding with science, engineering, astronomy, and innovation. Politically, they were nothing like a unified empire. The Maya world was a network of independent city-states, very much like ancient Greece. Each city had its own king, its own army, its own laws, and its own ambitions. They traded with each other, and they also waged brutal wars against each other. So now, let's step inside their greatest cities and see how their engineering rivaled even the modern world. Deep inside the jungle stood Tikal, a metropolis with thousands of buildings, towers rising above the canopy like skyscrapers. But Tikal's genius wasn't only its height. Its true magic was sound engineering. Maya architects shaped limestone at such precise angles that the entire pyramid worked like a natural loudspeaker. When the king stood at the top and spoke in a normal voice, 15,000 people standing in the plaza below heard him perfectly, crystal clear, without any microphone.
People of Tikal, the gods have spoken. The harvest will be bountiful this year.
Even today, many modern stadiums can't match this level of acoustic perfection. While the rest of the world was drawing water from wells, Palenque's engineers created something mind-blowing: a pressurized water system. They diverted jungle streams into narrow underground channels. Physics says, tighter space, higher pressure. And that's exactly what happened. Water rushed through the city with such force that Palenque had running water, and even flushing toilets, over 1,500 years ago, long before motors, pumps, or modern plumbing. And finally, Chichén Itzá, the crown jewel of Maya science. Its central pyramid, El Castillo, is not just a temple, it's a giant stone calendar. 91 steps on each side, plus the top platform, 365 steps total. One for every day of the year. Mayans saw the cosmos. Centuries before, Galileo pointed a telescope at the sky. Maya astronomers had already mapped the heavens. They built stone observatories like El Caracol, aligned perfectly with the movement of planets and stars. Their calculations were so precise that they could predict solar and lunar eclipses decades in advance, down to minutes and seconds. How did they do all this? One word: math. While Europe wrestled with clumsy Roman numerals, the Maya had already invented something revolutionary: zero. Using just 3 symbols, dot, bar, and shell, they performed massive calculations effortlessly. Today, NASA says a year is 365.2422 days. The Maya, without telescopes or computers, calculated 365.2420 days. The difference? Just 0.0002. That accuracy, thousands of years ago, is one of the greatest scientific achievements in human history. If the Maya were such advanced engineers, astronomers, and mathematicians, then how did ordinary people actually live? What were their homes like? Their food? Their daily routines? The truth is, Maya society looked a lot like ours. It was divided. At the top were the nobles, the kings, priests, and elite families. These were the people wearing jade jewelry, jaguar skins, and discussing science, astronomy, and politics. Below them were the commoners, the farmers, workers, and craftsmen. Life wasn't easy for them. They built the pyramids, fought in wars, and paid large portions of their harvest as taxes to the ruling class. But regardless of class, the Maya gave the world something America cannot live without: corn. For the Maya, corn wasn't just food, it was sacred. In Maya religion, humans were not made from clay, but from corn dough. Tortillas, tamales, atole, the foods you find in modern Mexican restaurants, all come from ancient Maya kitchens. Chocolate. Yes, chocolate is a Maya invention. They discovered cacao beans, ground them, mixed them with spices, and drank it as a hot, bitter, powerful drink. Cacao beans were so valuable that the Maya used chocolate as money. Imagine buying groceries today with a handful of chocolate beans. Their idea of beauty was very different from modern America. Flatheads. Soon after birth, a baby's head was placed between wooden boards so it would grow long and flat, a mark of high status. Crossed eyes. Sometimes children had beads hung in front of their eyes so they would grow slightly crossed, which the Maya considered divine. Jade teeth. Elite Maya even drilled holes in their teeth and filled them with jade and precious stones. Women of power. And then, there were the women. In many civilizations, women disappear from the history books. Not here. Maya women ran markets, controlled the weaving economy, and in rare cases, even ruled. One of the most famous Maya leaders, Lady Six Sky, commanded armies, expanded cities, and defeated rival kingdoms. She was not a ceremonial queen, she was a warrior. If the Maya were so advanced, so scientific, so powerful, so far ahead of their time, then how did everything collapse? By 800 AD, the Maya world was shining, cities were alive, markets were loud, and life was flourishing. But by 900 AD, everything changed. History remembers this moment as the Great Maya Collapse. There was no massive war, no supervolcano, yet millions of people suddenly abandoned the very cities they had spent centuries building. Why? The biggest clue came from the bottom of Lake Chichén Itzá in the Yucatan. Scientists drilled deep into the lakebed and found layers filled with gypsum, a mineral that forms only when water nearly disappears. The data was terrifying. Between 800 and 1000 AD, rainfall dropped by almost 70%. This drought didn't last a year. It lasted nearly a century. Reservoirs dried up. Crops failed. Even the Maya, the water engineers of the ancient world, could not fight nature. But NASA says this wasn't just nature. The Maya themselves played a part. To make the white plaster that covered their temples and pyramids, they burned millions of trees. Fewer forests meant hotter ground, fewer clouds, and even weaker rains. It became one of history's first human-driven climate disasters. And when water disappears, humans fight. In the Maya city of Dos Pilas, archaeologists found defensive walls built in a rush, made by ripping stones off old temples. This was proof. As famine grew, the Maya world fell into civil war. In the end, the Maya didn't fall for one reason. They fell because of a chain reaction. Massive deforestation led to severe drought, which caused famine, which ignited wars, and finally broke the people's faith in their god kings. And when faith breaks, civilizations collapse.